Have you ever heard whispers from a place long forgotten? A village, standing empty and silent, where every shadow holds a secret and the wind sounds like a mournful cry. Today, we're journeying into one of the world's most mysterious deserted villages, where chilling tales are etched into the very stones, and the reasons for its abandonment remain a terrifying enigma. Welcome, brave viewers. We're about to explore the haunting history of a place swallowed by time. This isn't just a collection of ghost stories. It's a deep dive into an unsolved mystery that has baffled historians and terrified locals for generations. What could make an entire community vanish, leaving everything behind? Was it a plague, a curse, or something far more sinister that walked among them? Stick around as we peel back the layers of this forgotten settlement. Our story begins in what was once a thriving, bustling community nestled deep in the countryside. Picture families living their lives, children playing in the streets, and the hum of daily activity filling the air. Then, one day, silence. The entire population disappeared, seemingly overnight. They left behind homes filled with personal belongings, tables set for meals that were never eaten, and an eerie quiet that hangs heavy to this day. The first mystery is the sheer speed and completeness of the exodus. There are no records of a migration, no letters sent to relatives, no historical accounts of them settling elsewhere. They simply cease to exist. Local legends, passed down in hushed tones, offer the first chilling explanation. It has said that the village elders made a pact with an ancient entity dwelling in the nearby forest to ensure a bountiful harvest. For years, the village prospered, but the entity demanded a terrible price, a price the villagers ultimately refused to pay. The legend speaks of a night of reckoning, where shadows stretched and twisted into unnatural forms and screams echoed through the valley. Before being abruptly silenced, visitors who dared to spend the night near the village report hearing faint whispers on the wind and seeing strange lights moving between the dilapidated houses as if the entity still wanders, forever waiting for its due. Let's look at some of the physical evidence, which only deepens the mystery. Archaeologists and investigators who have studied the site discovered strange symbols carved into the doorframes of every single house. These aren't symbols associated with any known religion or culture from the region. They are unique, intricate, and unsettling. Some researchers theorize they were wards of protection, meant to keep something out, or perhaps to keep something in. One of the most disturbing discoveries was in the old village well. At the bottom, they found not water, but dozens of old dolls, each one crudely fashioned and pierced with iron nails. What purpose did these serve? Was it a dark ritual, a desperate attempt to ward off an unseen evil, or a final, terrifying act of a community on the brink of madness? Then there are the personal accounts from the few who have dared to explore the ruins. A team of paranormal investigators in the early 2000s recorded electronic voice phenomena that are truly spine-chilling. Amidst the static, clear voices can be heard. A child's voice repeatedly whispers, "They're coming," while a man's gruff voice warns, "Don't look at the trees." The team also documented extreme temperature drops inside the old church, even on a hot summer day, and their equipment repeatedly malfunctioned without explanation. One investigator claimed to have seen a tall, gaunt figure standing at the edge of the woods, watching them, only for it to vanish the moment he pointed his camera at it. He left the village that day and has refused to ever speak of it in detail again, saying only that some places are not meant for the living. Another terrifying story comes from a group of hikers who got lost and stumbled upon the village by accident just a few years ago. Seeking shelter from a sudden storm, they entered one of the more stable-looking cottages. As night fell, they said the atmosphere inside the house grew incredibly oppressive. They began hearing footsteps on the floor above them, even though the staircase had collapsed decades ago. Then, they heard a soft, rhythmic tapping sound coming from inside the walls, growing louder and more frantic as the night wore on. They fled into the storm, choosing to face the elements rather than spend another minute in that house. They swore they could hear the tapping follow them until they cleared the village limits. So what really happened here? Let's consider the more grounded theories. Though they are hardly less frightening. One theory suggests a highly contagious and fast-acting disease, perhaps one that caused madness before death. This could explain the sudden abandonment and the strange symbols, which might have been desperate, delirium-induced attempts to stop the sickness. However, no mass graves have ever been found in or around the village, which is what you would expect from a deadly plague. Another theory points to environmental contamination, perhaps a natural poison, like a toxic fungus in the grain supply or a poisonous gas seeping from the ground, caused hallucinations and paranoia, driving the villagers to flee in a state of terror. This could account for the stories of seeing figures and the overall sense of dread. But it doesn't fully explain the disappearance of an entire population without a trace. The most enduring mystery remains: where did they all go? If they fled, someone, somewhere, would have seen them. A whole village on the move is not an easy thing to hide. It's this complete and total disappearance that keeps the supernatural theories alive. Did the pact with the forest entity come due? And did it drag them all into its shadowy realm? Were they victims of some bizarre, localized event that bent the rules of reality? Or did they uncover a secret so profound and terrifying that their only option was to walk away from their lives and vanish into history, taking the secret with them? The village stands as a silent monument to a story with no final chapter. The empty homes, the strange symbols, the dolls and the well, they are all puzzle pieces. But the picture they form is incomplete and horrifying. It's a place where history blurs into legend and reality feels thin. It reminds us that there are still corners of the world that hold deep, dark secrets, and some mysteries may never be solved. They just wait, in silence, for the next curious soul to stumble upon them. What do you think happened to the lost villagers? Was it a curse, a plague, or something else entirely? Let me know your most chilling theories down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear what you all think. If these unsolved mysteries and dark histories fascinate you, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. We have so many more strange and forgotten stories to uncover together. Thank you for joining me on this unsettling journey. Stay curious and stay safe.